Yes, I'm setting up on YouTube, which is good, amazing, and I'm setting up on TikTok, and that is working out fine as well. Fantastic. Okay, let's get into this right now. This is PD 19. I'm here every Friday at 8:30 Nigerian time, 1:30 Dallas time. And yes, we are learning a lot. One thing I want to learn is this. It's not when you have problems in marriage that you do counseling. People think that counseling is only for marriages that are in serious trouble, where things are really bad, and then you're getting some counseling. But that's not the case. The case is that while things are going well, you get counseling, and then somebody can come professionally and say, well, this is how you guys are doing. You can do this or that, and then things start to improve and get better. And because your goal is to get things better, even if you bought a Rolls Royce, like a nice big Rolls Royce, fancy Rolls Royce, because it's such a good car, you still will have to maintain it and service it. And that's important because no matter what, how good your marriage is going, you got to service it. So it's a very good practice to get counseling when things are going, and then you get tips and information to actually make things better, and that's very important. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Don't wait till things go wrong before getting counseling. Don't wait for that. You can actually fix things before they go wrong. you know um and whenever your partner says, and then the other thing too about marriage is you've got to learn about conflict resolution. Now your marriage is great and you guys are doing well, but conflicts will come, issues will come that need to be resolved. And if you don't know how to resolve these things properly, then you are going to find that there's going to be strife in the marriage. So it's very important that you learn how to resolve conflict. Okay, whenever your partner says that they are hurt, never go back to them and explain why you hurt them, because an explanation of why you hurt them will not stop them from being hurt. So when your partner says they are hurt, the only thing that can resolve the hurt or take the hurt away is love. So you've got to learn that whenever a partner comes to you and says, this thing you did hurt me, don't explain why you did it, because the reason that you did it, it's like you're trying to validate the fact that you hurt them, and that doesn't help. So it's very, very important where people aren't very intentional about responding to a partner saying, I don't like this, or this thing hurt me. If it hurts you, the only thing that can take hurt away is what? Is love. So you say, oh, darling, oh, what can I do? I didn't mean to. What can I do? Do this, you pull them close, you kiss them, you do something. But that's what you've got to do. You don't go arguing. Actually, the root of trying to explain why you hurt them, and is pride, because you're so pride, you don't really want to just, you feel a need to really explain to them why you did what you did. But no matter the reason that you did what you did, the issue is they are hurt, and if they're hurt, then they need love. Is that good? So let's learn that, and that is very, very important. Yes. The other thing too you have to learn is how to reverse downward spirals. In marriages, it's very often that one person will hurt somebody, and that person, okay, let's do this. The female, like the wife will hurt her husband, okay, and because she could disrespect him, or maybe she didn't, but in his eyes he felt disrespected, and because he feels disrespected, what he does, he withdraws love. And when a woman does not feel love, the urge to disrespect is high, so she could disrespect again, and then when she disrespects again, he pulls back more love. And because she's completely unloved at this time, guess what she does? She disrespects again. And it's a cycle that gets worse, 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 worse. And there is a way to stop this. And that's why it's really important that you learn this. People need to be coached in marriage, because there's so much, there's so many principles and things that people need to learn, that if you don't learn it, you will struggle. Marriage is a profession, is something that you do most of your time, as an occupation that you need to study and learn to know it. Okay, so The issue here is that anytime that one person is feeling unloved or disrespected, the other person has got to continue to do the right thing. So the fact that your husband or your wife did the wrong thing by disrespecting you, you still have to love her. And if you love her and continue to love her, she will eventually come back and respect you. But if she disrespected and you stopped loving, the only other thing she will do is disrespect again because she feels no love. So let's learn this here, where if you are the man, you need respect and she needs love. Make sure that irrespective of how they are coming at you, make sure that you are doing the right thing. If you're a woman, you continue to respect. You continue to respect till he flips over and starts to give love. If you're a man, you continue to love and you continue to love till it takes over, till things change over and she starts to respect. Do we just learn that? That is good. Start to put up your questions. I'll be taking questions in about 20 minutes. So make sure that you're asking a lot of questions because I'm here to answer all your questions for free. And I said for free. And that's amazing. Okay. One thing is you must always maintain order in the house, in the home. God first, and then husband and wife. God first, husband is the leader, and wife. That's the order, and then the children. Maintain that order. Don't. Sometimes I've seen where if you upset the orders, things will start to get confused, and then there will be some problems and strife. So there's order. God first, the husband as the leader, the wife next, and the children. Sometimes we put children above husband, or put husband. We just do things sometimes, and we mix things up. And when we mix things up, things get bad. Keep that in mind. Okay, as a wife, you never wear the pants in the house, no matter what. You must know that having peace is more important than being right. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That is really, really important. Okay, let's go back to this point here that I had missed last week, and that point is you will reap what you sow. In marriage, always know this: in marriage, you will reap what you sow. If you get angry and you do bad things in the home or to your husband, it's going to come back to you. So just know this: in marriage, no matter how you're feeling, realize that whatever I sow, I will reap. Okay, so if you sow anger, or you sow abuse, or you sow anything that's bad in the marriage, it will come back. Keep that in mind, and always realize this: know what you want, and make it that whatever you sow is what you want, irrespective of how you feel. Because sometimes in marriage, you are so angry with your husband, okay, for something. And to be quite frank, what you want is that he love you more, he show you more love. But because you're angry, you abuse, you do something bad. But then that thing you did that's bad can never give you what you want. So understand this: no matter how emotional you are, no matter how angry you are, make sure that whatever you sow into your partner, your spouse, is a seed that is able to give you what you want. Think about this closely, because many times in while we're emotional and we're angry, we just do and say things that cannot give us what you want. So keep that in mind. You want to make sure that that is the case. Are we good? That is fantastic. We are good. Yes. This is 60 Minutes with Piidii. It's Marriage Success Secrets. And yes, we are learning a lot about marriages, and we're learning a lot about how to make our marriages successful. Okay? Be intentional to make sure that your home is a place that you both really look forward to coming to. There are times when in marriage, we don't think about that. Atmosphere is important, and it's very important to make sure that the way I talk, the way I respond, the atmosphere I create in my house is one that is encouraging for my spouse to come back to. There are times when we forget, or in ignorance, we shout, we fight, we do some things, and then we expect that my spouse will be eager to come back home. And that's not true. The home must be sweet and soft and nice, and just things there must be good and gentle, to just make sure that when I'm out there and life is rough and I'm thinking of going back home, I'm very encouraged. I want to go back home because I just know that home is a comfortable place. Somebody's going to meet me with a smile, with a hug, with a kiss, and things are going to be nice. I'm going to get encouragement of some sort and some affirmation because that's what I get at home. But if you forget about this, and home is a place where you're trying to make him or her do something, and you're trying to teach them a lesson, and you're trying to do things. The home is no home is no longer great. So this is something that both parties must understand, that you have the power to create the atmosphere in your home, and you've got to create an atmosphere that your spouse, your partner is looking forward to coming to. So keep that in mind, where you have to be very intentional about the way you keep things going on at home. Okay, and you are able to create an atmosphere. So both of you be intentional about creating an atmosphere at home that is very, very encouraging for everyone to come back to. And that is very important. Okay, it's also important to be each other's friends, share each other's hobbies, joke and play with each other. Always remember this: marriage should be fun. Sometimes you guys make marriage like it's about paying rent and taking care of the children. Marriage is about just other things. But marriage should be fun. It's between two people. You're playing together, you're joking together, and be intentional to share each other's hobbies. I've seen too many times where somebody likes to do one thing, and the other person just like has no, just doesn't care about doing it, just doesn't care about getting involved. But these are the little things that makes things work, because if I like something and you do it with me, and then you like something and I do it with you, then we're friends and we're interacting. We've got common experiences, we've got common things to talk about. But I've seen a lot of couples where, nope, I have no, like he likes something and she says, well, I have no interest and I'm not going to get involved. You can get involved. You can be intentional. Everybody, you can do anything except by, that you're able to do whatever you put your mind to. So be intentional to share each other's hobbies, each other's whatever that you guys like. Share it. You don't say, well, I don't like it, then I'm not going to do it. Did we get that? Okay. Study your in-laws. In-laws are very important when marriage is being spoken about, because in-laws, your in-law basically is your spouse's parent, and most times they've known their parent longer than you. So fine, they love you and you're their next of kin, but their parents have great influence over them, male or female, wife or husband. So you must just be very intentional about how you deal with your in-laws. So you study your in-laws, intentionally smother your in-laws with love. Now, love is unconditional, meaning like some people say, well, my in-laws are bad, they don't ask for me, they didn't want me, so I can't love them. But love is unconditional. I mean, that may be the case, but it doesn't matter. You intentionally love them. You intentionally love them. You make them know that they're loved, and because they have influence over your spouse, and whether you like it or not, if they decide to work against you, it just makes things harder. So it's better to have them on your side, and then things are not bad. So love them intentionally and unconditionally. They have influence, yes. Hopefully, now I hope your in-laws don't live with you. Really try to not have in-laws live with you. So this is very important, because there's sometimes that especially men just bring their in-laws and then the in-laws are there permanently. In-laws do not help the smooth running of marriage. Being with you all the time. They can visit. They'll tell you they're coming. You know how long they're coming. When they're there, you smother them with love. You are generous. You give them things. You do a lot, and then they go. They shouldn't really avoid, if you can, your in-laws living with you. It doesn't really create the environment for your marriage to really do great things. Okay, did we get that? That is important. This is PD 19, and we are talking about marriage success secrets, the things that most people don't know about marriages that make them successful. But today we are going to just speak about it and open it up. If you have questions, please let me know. Okay. And then in a marriage, a husband should protect his wife from his family. So if there's an issue between the wife and the family, don't allow your wife to go and start to talk to your family and start to get into all sorts of entanglements with your family. No, like a husband will protect his wife from his family, and then he will fight for his wife, with his family. Then the wife does the same thing too. If the wife's family has an issue with the husband, don't just push your husband to them. Then him and them are sorting it out. As a wife, you protect him from your family, and you fight his battles with your family. This is very important. Many times people don't really realize this, and the husband says, "Well, go and talk to my father about something that they don't agree on, or my mother, and just send her out there, and then they deal with her anyhow, and things are bad." Don't do that, or send her to your siblings. No, as a husband, you figure out what is going on, and then you go to your parents and say, "Well, you defend your wife, you speak for her, you make sure that she's in good standing." Same thing with your siblings and everything. And your wife does the same thing too. It's very important that we know this, because I've seen this, that in ignorance, people have just sent their wives to their parents, and the parents dealt with them and everything, and it got worse. Things just got worse. So you don't do that. Are we good? And of course, you pray about everything, everything you pray about. Yes, sex is very important in marriage. And this is true. Sex is actually very, very important in marriage. And sex in marriage maintains intimacy. Like when you guys have, make love and everything, you're closer, and that's important. Sex in marriage maintains closeness. That you become closer because, sex in marriage increases oneness in marriage. See, marriage is a test of your ability to become one with another person. That's the main goal of marriage, ability to become one. When you were two, you became one, and you completely become one. And sex helps that. So keep that in mind. Sex in marriage takes away stress. These are points. I'm supporting sex in marriage. Sex in marriage aids forgiveness. If you have real intimate sex in marriage, you let things go. You let things go. It aids forgiveness, and it helps the progress in marriage. Okay, sex in marriage helps you to let things go, helps you to forgive. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's very, very important. And to be quite frank, sex should be readily available at all times in marriage. It's very important. It helps the marriage, it helps the marriage to move forward and progress. And this is important. So keep that in mind. Now, the key to good sex. Key to good sex. You guys are hoping you're going to hear some really, really raunchy stuff, but you're not. But you're going to get the keys to good sex. Okay, now, one main thing about love is that love is about the other person. Love is selfless. It's not about you, it's about the other person. And good sex always comes from you being able to ask your partner what they want, really get an understanding of what they want, and that you continue to give them, even if it's not what you want, but you are going out of your way to give your partner what they want. And hopefully they are going to reciprocate and give you what you want. And if we keep this in mind, where things are going to be okay. When sex stops working in marriage, is you're thinking about yourself. This is what I need to make myself. This is what I need to make myself enjoy this thing. And your focus is all on what I need. It needs to be faster, stronger, longer, whatever. And you're focused. But that's not what makes sex really good. Sex is all about you being focused on what they want and giving them what they want, and they giving you what you want. Okay, for as long as you want it, and things are going to be good. We're talking about success, marriage success secrets. You can't really talk about success in marriage without talking about sex. So this is important. Are we keeping this in mind? I'm going to stop soon, it looks. Anyway, that is amazing. God forbid that your husband has a side chick, or your wife has a side guy. These days, we know what it is. So yeah, if that's the case, the problem is not your husband. So, because many times I see, especially women, go and start to fight somebody outside. It's like, my husband is saying, why you talk to my husband? But the issue here is that if your husband doesn't fear God enough, to not keep himself for you, it's not her problem. Because even if you fought her and she stopped, because he has no control and no fear of God, he is going to see another woman and he's going to pursue again. And then you go and fight that woman. And then after she leaves, he'll go again and see somebody else. And then you fight that person. At the end of the day, you must realize that like those women, they're really not the problem. There are always going to be women out there. And if I'm talking to a female, there are always going to be fine guys out there. You've got to have the fear of God in you to make you just say, you know what, I have found my one person. And since I found this person, I don't have eyes for everybody else. It's an intentional commitment, because you'll always see somebody finer or hunkier than your husband or your wife, and you can't say, well, so I had to do anything. You've got to have self-control, okay? You pray about it and really, really meditate on it and make sure that you've got good self-control. And that is important. Okay. And independence is a very bad thing in marriage, okay? Because to be quite frank, sometimes we think it's okay to be like being the marriage can be independent, but you being independent in the marriage is fighting against the oneness you're trying to create. So keep that in mind. That it's fighting against the oneness that you're trying to create. So you don't want that. Independence in marriage is when you are still thinking and acting like a single person in marriage. It's very bad. You want, or a person who wants their space. If you love your space so much, then you should stay single. But the minute you get married, you are two before, now you're one. This space that you want for yourself is fighting the oneness and therefore fighting the foundation of your marriage. Whatever that fights your oneness is fighting the foundation of your marriage. So think about it. Any situation that arises where one person becomes themselves, the other person somebody else, then there are two visions and different actions, it's fighting the marriage. So you're trying to be one, okay? You want your space, don't do that, or you're making selfish and self-centered choices and decisions all the time. So when you make a decision, it's selfish or it's just focused on you, or a choice, you're thinking about yourself only. These things destroy marriages. You don't want that. You want it that at all times, you're thinking of both of you. Your vision is for both of you. Your choices, consider both of you. Your actions, consider both of you. This is how marriages work because you are two. You are no longer one, okay? So keep that in mind. What else is here? Another thing is finances. In marriage, even as a female, if you're not working, make sure that you have money. If a man tells you don't work, then he must be able to afford to give you enough money that's your money that you can hold on to. It's always good anytime that a woman has no finances in a marriage. It is very, very it's very, very often that she'll be abused by the husband. Yeah, and that's true. When a man knows that you have enough money to sort yourself out for a couple of days and whatever, he'll never threaten to throw you out of the house or anything like that. So it's very, very important that for women in marriage, make sure you got money. Work, have money, and if you're not working, if he insists that you shouldn't work, then let him give you enough money that will make you comfortable. If he cannot give you that money, then he cannot insist that you cannot work. Keep that in mind. This is marriage secret success. Okay? Keep that in mind. It's very important. This is PD 19. Good. Yes, every marriage has the different things work for different people. It's okay for you both your lives to revolve around each other. That's fine. But both of you must be loving, caring, considerate. Mark these words down. Loving, both of you. Caring, both of you. Considerate, both of you. Very important. And most importantly, there is no control or manipulation involved. Yeah, it's very important. In marriage, there should be no control where you want to make the other person do something and they have to do something. If not, you're going to be harsh and hard. There should be no control in marriage. Also, there should be no manipulation where you're trying to get them to do something, then you go through different means to try to make them do it. is bad for both parties, husband and wife. You should not manipulate and you should not control. You discuss, open communication. This is what I like. This is could you please do this for me, or can we consider this? So you can request, you can direct, but you can't demand, you can't control, and you just cannot manipulate. So keep this in mind. These things do not work in marriage, and do not get involved in them. Okay? And also, don't look at what other people are doing, and the next thing you're trying to do what other people are doing. Each person, there's a unique setting for your own marriage and togetherness that will make it work. So keep in mind, there should be no type of looking at people and try to compare. Comparison is very bad. Okay? Now, the truth is this, that, if you just got married and you don't know it, children affect marriages. Did you get that? Children, just having children, it affects your, not affecting marriages, but it affects your intimacy. So you be very careful. It can affect your intimacy. And so be very intentional. The fact that a new baby has come, do not ignore your husband, okay? Because the needs he had before the baby came, he still has. And so many times new mothers make everything revolve around the baby for months and months, and this doesn't stop. And this is bad. Be very intentional. Baby has come, and we love this baby, but you're still the unit, and don't start to forget yourselves. Okay? Did we get that? Did we get that? Independence, yes, is very bad. Yes. Make sure that you pray together with your children as well. Many times people forget this, but be intentional about praying together. Pray together with your spouse. Pray with your children. Make it a habit. If one person is not trying to comply, go ahead, pray with the children. When he sees or she sees the benefit of the prayers, prayers being the answers, the results of the prayers, they will join. So keep it in mind that you want to pray. Now, love languages are very important. Love languages, because sometimes I counsel a person or a couple. They've been married for 5 years and they don't know each other's language, or at least one person, usually the man, does not know his wife's love language. Now, this is really bad, because a love language is something that I do to you or for you that really makes you feel loved. The issue here is that I can do many good things to you, but among all these good things I do to you, there is a category of good things I do to you that makes you feel loved. For example, I could buy you stuff all the time. I just buy you stuff, and I give you gifts. I give you gifts, but I'm not at home. I don't spend much time with you. And even though I give you gifts, you don't really feel my love, and you don't feel I love you, because all I'm doing is give you gifts. What you actually want from me is to come and spend time with you and just chill with you, because your love language is quality time. But guess what? I'm doing you gifts. So it's very important that you're doing the right thing so that your partner knows. And the truth is that if it's when you do the love language to a person that their love tank is filled. And when a person's love tank is filled, they will do anything for you. They will go distances for you because their love tank is full. They really feel your love. So love languages are very important, okay? And love languages are words of affirmation. Some people like to be encouraged. They like to be just verbally loved and built up. So that's important. If your spouse's love language is words of affirmation, you've got to speak words of affirmation to them. It's not quality time, it's not gifts, it's not touch, it's not acts of what's it called now? Acts of acts of service. Okay, yeah. So it's really important that you know your partner's love languages. And just in case you don't know the love languages are quality time, acts of service, gifts, touch, and words of affirmation. A person whose love language is quality time, they like you to help them do what they're already doing. So if they have an assignment or a task or something, when you just come and you help them do it, they really feel loved. Like this person came and helped me do this thing, and they're really, really loved, and that is amazing. Okay. That's acts of service. Gifts. These guys just like gifts, but don't be afraid of a person with a gift love language, thinking you're going to have to buy them expensive gifts all the time. These people actually, it's not the cost or the size of the gift that counts; it's the thought that counts. Where you are out, you thought about them and you bought them a gift, or you were whatever and you bought them a gift, and they love it. They keep the gift, they treasure it, they keep referring to the gift, and that makes them feel really loved. So that's another set of people. Then there's people who is touch. There are people who they love you to just touch them. Where you pat them on the shoulder, you hold their hands. They just like touching them makes them feel loved. So know that when you touch them, they really feel loved, and that's important. That you know that you do it. So as a spouse, you've got to know your spouse's love language, and you keep doing it. Then there are those who it's words of affirmation, which I said before, which is when they need to hear you encourage them. They need to hear you say, "You can do it. I knew you could do it. I love you. You're a strong person. You're able to do this thing, and you're great. You look nice. Oh wow, I like that." And you keep to verbally affirm them and encourage them, and that's important. So you can imagine if your spouse's love language is words of affirmation, and you never told them anything. You don't even like tell them you look nice. I like the combination of the dress you wore, blah blah blah. Nothing. You just like don't say anything. That is terrible. They are drying up emotionally, and they are withering emotionally. And you try to do something before they die emotionally. Because once they die emotionally, then you're going to lose them physically as well. So you don't want to do that. So love languages are important. We're talking about secrets, success secrets in marriage. I'm going to do this last point, then I think we'll stop. Okay. Communicating desire for sex in marriage is very important. And you've got to have ways of doing it between yourselves where you don't go up and say, "Well, darling, I need sex now." No, there are many different ways to get things going. And then there are codes you can have that even when the kids are there, you can talk about, "Darling, yeah, I really like to get some tonight," without the kids understanding what you're saying. Okay, which is very very which is very very important. It's like some couples have a code. It's like, "My back is itching me tonight." So the kids can be at the table, everything, and you tell the wife and say, like, "My back is really itching me tonight." And she knows what you're talking about because you're telling her that tonight, so let's make sure that things happen. Okay, keep that in mind. And just different things. You can say your eye is paining you or anything, but you guys know that this means that our guy is or madam is trying to get some tonight, and that's important. Okay. And also, it could be something that you do where each time you buy her ice cream, she kind of realize that this guy, this guy is looking for something tonight, or you come back with something. It could be where both of you understand this. Where when I do this, it means like it would be nice. So keep that in mind and keep marriage fun. It's very important that marriage is fun because sometimes you guys you get too serious. Marriage is about paying bills, about making money, about the children's school fees and this and that. But you've got to know that it's about the two of you becoming one, and you've got to keep it being fun. Are we good? Any questions right now? Let me see. Okay, I talked about children killing romance. Yes, 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 yes. When you have kids, if you're not intentional, romance ends there, just right there. So make sure that when you have your kids, make sure that you still make time out for each other. The children cannot replace the two of you. You've got to understand that. The children cannot. So you've got to make sure that you make time for one another, and have date nights, have activity days, and just make sure that the marriage is still on a good footing, exciting and fun, even with the children, and that is so important. Okay, so I'm going to check and see if I have some questions, and then I will answer those questions. Yes. I'm going to see. Just a minute while I pull up. Yes, questions. Yes, I see some questions here, which is good. Thank you, Jesus. Sir, as someone who's seen both the joys and challenges of marriage, what is the biggest misconception that singles need to let go before stepping into marriage? The biggest misconception. I think the biggest misconception is the idea that marriages work by themselves. Just the idea that you know what, I can just do marriage. I don't have any knowledge. I don't need to work on it, and things will be great. That's the greatest misconception. They think that about marriage, that marriage is more knowledge driven than it is love driven. So even though you love yourselves, but if in ignorance you hurt yourself enough, things will break. So that's what I think is the most important thing, and that it's the marriages that you work on that work. So keep that in mind. It's the marriages that you work on that actually work. So make sure that you are willing to work in your marriage. Never marry a person who's not willing to work in their marriage. Right? Like, for example, if anybody who is not willing to go for counseling should not be married. Anybody at all that's not willing to do counseling should not be married at all. So keep that in mind. Two, do you believe love is enough to keep a marriage strong, or should we be looking for something more before committing to a lifetime with someone? The truth is this: love is not enough to make your marriage work. It's the understanding of what love is that's going to make your marriage work. The fact that you must know that love is intentional, is unconditional, it is sacrificial, it is selfless. I have a whole list of things that you've got to know that love is this thing, and then you've got to do it no matter what. No matter what comes at you. If like love is kind, is gentle, is forgiving, doesn't take offense. So even though offense came, while you're in marriage, you can't be taking offense. If you're a person that takes offense, your marriage is going to be terrible. If you're a person that cannot forgive, your marriage will be terrible. If you're a stingy, miserly person, your marriage will be terrible. If you're a selfish person that you're thinking about yourself all the time, your marriage will be terrible. So you've got to know what love really is, and the rules and the principles that work in marriage, and you do them. You do them consistently, no matter what. If you're able to do that, you're cool. Your marriage will be amazing. You will enjoy it. You will love it. Everything will be fine. Okay. I'm trying to lay the best foundation for a future marriage. What habits should I start practicing now that will help me later? The habit is love. You can't get away from love in marriage. The habit is love, where you've got to learn to start loving everybody. Where you don't take offense from people generally, you let things go, you're just easygoing, you're peaceful. You're a person who, like, the environment does not affect your peace, where you can be peaceful throughout whatever environment that you find yourself. So you start to practice love. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll give you what love is, like a whole bunch of things. And you have to keep practicing them. If you're able to practice these things consistently, I guarantee you your marriage will be okay. It will be great. Not even okay. It will be great. So keep that in mind. In your experience, what's an unspoken rule that keeps a marriage strong even when things get tough? Well, one thing is knowing that having peace is more important than being right. Where most times you can be right, but your spouse is trying to be right. Let them be right and have peace. Peace is very important. People don't understand this. If there's no peace in your marriage, then you're going to have a problem. So peace is very important. Keep that in mind, and always know that peace is very important. Also, what else again? Unspoken rule in marriage. Don't send your spouse to deal with your parents. They're just some things that you've got to know. If you send your spouse to deal with your parents, they're going to treat them roughly. Your spouse is going to come back and fight with you, or just disconnect with you from the way they've been treated by your parents. So at all times, you protect your spouse from your parents. You fight your spouse's battles with your parents, and things will be great. What's one hard truth about successful marriages that might be difficult to hear, but is crucial for long-term happiness? Well, for most people, the fact that if you have more money than your husband, he still has control over your spending of that money. Because the minute you start to spend your money without his consent, You have removed yourself from under him and have become an independent person. And many people will struggle with the fact that, my money, so I still have to ask him. But you do, to make your marriage successful. Because, like I said, if you go off and start spending that money without his approval, he's just going to pull back and things are going to go bad. So, if you could advise singles on one thing to avoid in a relationship to ensure a healthy marriage later, what would it be? One thing to avoid in a relationship: definitely don't cheat. Definitely don't cheat. In relationship, when you have your relationship, definitely like be faithful. Be a faithful person. Be faithful. Be respectful, and you'll be fine. That's very important. What's a lesson most people learn only after getting married that we as singles should know beforehand? What I'll say here is that as a single person, always always have a vision of the like a long-term perspective. Okay, that's it. As a single person, have a long-term perspective as to everything you're experiencing while single. I've seen where, in fact, most times that people are looking about to be divorced, and they come to me, I ask them that these problems that you're seeing now, did you see them before? And they always say that I saw it, but I didn't know it would be this bad. So what I want you to do is whatever it is that you're seeing or perceiving in your partner right now, start to project it for the rest of your life. And if you can take it, it's good. If you can't take it, it's not good. You shouldn't get married. Keep that in mind, because many times we are thinking that well, it's not killing me now, but then it's only been a few months or so. But if this is what I'm getting for the rest of my life, can I bear it? And if you can bear it, fine. But if you can't, you've got to look, either that person needs to change what they're doing or you need to get out of that relationship. Good. How do you think couples can handle conflicts in a way that brings them closer instead of pushing them apart? That's very, 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 very interesting. When there's a conflict, you've got to know that the person that this conflict is coming from loves you. When they woke up, they loved you. They've done something now that is conflicting, most likely in ignorance or by mistake. Now, do I now handle this issue like an enemy attacked me? Then I am just like out of my mind about what they did. So it's so important that you've got to understand that this person who is conflicting with you actually loves me. So there's something about what they're doing that I don't like. Let's talk about it. Let's get counseling. Let's talk to our spiritual leaders or influence, or let's look for somebody that's an accountability partner to speak into this thing. And then you move forward. You don't fight them like they are your enemies. You don't fight your partner like that. And I've seen this where people there's conflict, and then there's fighting and abusing, and there's just like all out war. And I'm thinking, what happened? What happened to love? This person that you're fighting with, when they woke up this morning, they were in love with you. You are both in love with each other. But now you guys want to kill each other. It doesn't make sense. So you've got to understand that at all times, where an offense coming from a heart of love cannot be considered as an offense. I'll say it one more time. An offense coming from a heart of love cannot be considered to be an offense. You got to let it go. Okay? You don't take that offense. Okay. For someone who's afraid of marriage due to all the failed stories out there, what's one piece of advice that will change their perspective? It's very simple. It's like assuming I want to be a doctor, okay, but I didn't go to medical school, and then I want to open a practice. I will be afraid because I'm not qualified. I don't have the prerequisite amount of knowledge to be successful in a medical practice. It's the same thing in marriage. When you don't know enough, when you're ignorant about what makes marriages work, you're going to be afraid. You're going to be afraid. You're going to be afraid to do it because you're about to start a practice that you don't have the prerequisite knowledge to make it work. That's how it works. So you've got to understand this. If you have the prerequisite amount of knowledge to make marriage work, then it will work. it will work. It will work by all means. But marriage is about two people. So actually, both of you must have the prerequisite amount of knowledge to make marriages work. So I'll tell you this: no matter how nice, a lovely, handsome, beautiful a person is, if they are ignorant about what makes marriages work, you are going to be in trouble if you marry them. Keep this in mind. Where like you can qualify, but it's a partnership. So if you qualify, you have the prerequisite amount of knowledge to make marriages work, but your partner has zero in their head, then you are going to struggle because it takes two to be successful in marriage. Okay, are we good? Should we prioritize having separate hobbies and interest in marriage, or is it better to do everything together to build closeness? Prioritize separate. No, you don't see. If you have an understanding that marriage is a test of your ability to become one with another person, you're going to understand that anything where you're trying to do separate is fighting the foundation of that marriage. So what you do here is this: everybody had their hobbies before coming. Okay, so whatever your husband's hobby is, try to get involved. You had your hobbies as well. Your husband should try to get involved in yours as well. So whatever time you guys want to do anything, you're able to do it together. Okay, so it's not about everybody having theirs separate or everybody has just one thing that you've got to join something. No, you join each other. So as you join each other, your oneness increases. Your oneness becomes more, and it builds up your closeness. Before saying I do, what's one question you think every couple should ask each other before saying I do? Well, before saying I do, let's see, question that you ask each other. There are actually many questions that you got to ask each other. You got to really see how conflict is resolved. You've got to figure out if they really fear God. Like the fear of God actually is a major thing in marriage because it's a restriction. It keeps people within certain boundaries because they fear God, because they have a relationship with God. If there's no relationship with God at all, they can do anything to you at any time. And that could make marriage very, very, very risky and a torture. So you don't want to do that. So there are many questions that you want to ask, and you've got to talk about your visions. It's very important. You've got to talk about your visions, and the man's vision must be bigger than yours. And when you guys come together, your vision must enter into his. So he leads in creating a vision, one vision that contains both your visions. Okay. So as you assist him, as you help him, which you're expected to do with everything that God has given you, you are actually now building a vision that's working for both of you. Did we get that? That's really important. Keeping the spark alive seems tough after a few years of marriage, which is true. What's one practical way to make it happen? The practical way is by being intentional. Being intentional. Intentionally have date nights. Intentionally go out and have fun. If you are not intentional, really, it becomes very, very mundane, very, 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 very boring. So be very, very intentional and make it fun. Don't get so serious about yourself that it's no longer fun. Just intentionally, you practical jokes. You have a sense of humor, and you're talking, you're smiling, you're joking. You have your date nights, you're having fun. You take vacations, if you can, and or just time out together. And this is very important to keep the spark alive. What's a common piece of marriage advice that sounds good on paper but isn't practical in real life? Every good marriage advice is good to hear and good to practice. I don't know who's talking to you, but common piece of advice, I don't know, that's that's like rumor or gossip. Every advice I give for marriage, it works. So you better listen well and do it. What's the most overrated advice singles get about marriage that should be ignored? Overrated that should be if it's good advice, it shouldn't be ignored, to be quite frank. If it's good advice, it shouldn't be ignored. And if it's overrated, that's not what I do. So I don't know much about that. From what you've seen, what's a mindset shift that singles should adopt now to set themselves up for a successful marriage? I think it's just to realize that in marriage, you've got to be selfless. Marriage cannot be about you. Because when you're single, it's about you. And you're going about everything's about you. But notice that marriage cannot be about you. You've got to be selfless. Start to practice the ability to be selfless. So that way, you can when you get married, you'll be okay. So that's it. Don't be selfish. Be selfless. Do you think maintaining trust in a marriage is more challenging than rebuilding it, and how can we prepare for it? Maintaining is always easier than rebuilding because you're thinking what marriage. Yeah, maintaining trust is much much easier than rebuilding trust. Maintaining trust, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're transparent. You're together, and that's amazing. But by the time you break trust, which means you've done something you shouldn't do, you've really broken things up. We know how trust is. Trust is built up, not easily but consistently. But when you break trust, you remove everything. There's no issue where you broke trust but there's a little trust left, or you broke trust but there's a lot of trust left. Anytime you break trust, there's no trust left. Zero. The account is zero. You've got to start to try to rebuild that trust all the way back to where it was, and it takes a long time and it takes a lot of effort. So your best bet is don't break trust. Okay. How do married couples keep their relationship a partnership than letting it become a competition? Well, it's a partnership. When it becomes a competition, it's because you're trying to do better than your spouse. You're trying to show off. If you keep your heart humble, okay, and I'll tell you one thing, how humility is intentional. There's no humble person that you see that's just humble, just like that. They know that they're being humble, because they're being intentional. So the key here is if you're intentionally humble, you will remain a partner and not a competitor. So keep that in mind. And truly, in marriage, you're not competing. You're not. No, you are partners. You're supporting each other, and that's important. What's one unconventional piece of advice you'd give that you believe truly makes a difference in marriage? It's the fact that marriage is an occupation. If you don't have enough knowledge, your marriage will fail. It's just simple. If you do not have enough knowledge about what love really is and how marriages work, your marriage will fail. It will be painful and torturous. And that's just the truth. Many times, I guess it's just the world that we live in today. People think, well, all I need is this emotional love in my heart. If my heart is beating and my knees are shaking and everything, there's butterflies in my chest, I qualify to marry. And that's a lie. That is just not true. That's just a serious lie. You need to know a lot about marriage. Study it fully. And I'll tell you this, the thing between success and failure in marriage is knowledge. And if you understand enough and you study, you're going to be okay. If not, you're going to struggle. So I'm done here. I have another set of questions that I've seen here, which is here. What do you do in a situation where your wife's family don't like you up to a point where your mother-in-law comes and slaps you? As you slap her back, who is to be blamed? This is bad. You really shouldn't slap your mother-in-law. Even though she slapped you should just hold her down and give her some serious money. Like, Mama, if you try this again, I will do something to you. But you shouldn't really slap your mother-in-law. So there's no issue of blame here. One, she should not have come to your house and have the audacity to come and slap you in your house. It's like, she will get what she gets. And apologies will come later. So keep that in mind. So you're not to blame. Don't take pride in the fact that you slapped her. But truly, somebody needs to step in. Either father-in-law needs to step in, or pastor or somebody needs to step in and tell her that she has no right to come to your house and slap you. That is just that's just not okay. So, nope, we don't agree to that. Okay, and I have another question, hopefully, which is this one. Okay, what's a key element of a successful marriage that's often overlooked but shouldn't be? Key element of successful marriage is like everything boils down to love. Where we use the word love a lot. Everybody says, "Oh, I love him, I love her," and love is a word that is used very often, but love is a word that is not understood by most people. In fact, very few people know what love is. Seriously, very, very few people know what love is, and very, very few people practice it. So I think that's the main thing there, where truly, if we understand what love is, really is, the same way that God has loved us through Jesus Christ, we will get it, and that's really important. Okay. In your opinion, what's a silent issue in many marriages that people don't see until it's too late? A silent issue that people don't see until it's too late. If like in a marriage, a silent issue is, let me see, my silent issue in a marriage. Well, most times people just understand that in marriage, you don't get everything you want. I think that's what I would say a silent issue is, where people come to marriage thinking that, well, I'm going to get what I want, and this marriage will give me what I want. But the issue there is that in marriage, you must know this: you will never get everything you want in marriage. You must be willing to compromise, to say, well, you know what, I was hoping I'd get 10, but I'll settle with 8. You just never, if you fight or if you try to get everything you want in marriage, you are going to have a very volatile marriage where it's going to be rocky because you're trying to get what you want. And that's not the spirit of marriage. I'll tell you this: to be successful in marriage, one thing you've got to know is that you come into the marriage focused on what you're going to give. So when I marry this woman, I'm going to love her. I'm going to make sure she has no problems. I'm going to support her. You're thinking what I'm going to do. And as a woman too, as you come to marriage, you're thinking, well, this man, I'm going to take care of him. He's never going to be hungry. He's never going to really want sex. I'm going to be there for him whatever time. I'm going to do this. And if you both come together with this mindset, marriage will work. But if you come together with the mindset where when I'm married, she must cook for me, she must kneel down before she gives me food, she must do many, many, many things, and you're trying to enforce it and make it happen, and she too comes out with that, this man, he must support me, he must do this, your marriage will not work. So understand this, that in marriage, you come giving. You came to give, not to get. You really have to meditate on that in this marriage that you are coming into, you have come to give. Both parties. The woman came to give, the man came to give. And that's what makes it work. But what we find out that for most people in marriage today, they came into it to get. When I get married, I will get, and things don't work. So thank you very much. I think I have answered. It's time to go. But I hope that you all heard a lot today. I really pray that all your marriages are working greatly, that you're increasing in knowledge for your marriages and things. And when you do get married, if you're not yet married, that your marriage you will enjoy it, not endure. A lot of people right now are enduring their marriage, they're enduring their marriages. But actually, you're supposed to be enjoying your marriage. So keep that in mind and remain blessed as I sign out from every platform here. Yes. And how do I sign out here? Yes, I sign out here. Have an amazing time.